What's up, everyone? It's Kenneth Polito, also known as the Tech Guide, and this is the unboxing, overview, and review of the brand new 4th generation iPod Touch. This right here is the 8GB model, and it retails for $229. This is the overview of the 4th generation iPod Touch, where we go more in depth in terms of what the iPod Touch actually is and what it does. So let's kick things off with the dimensions of the product. Now, this iPod Touch is 4.4 inches tall and 2.3 inches wide, and it is approximately 0.28 inches thin. Now, in comparison to the 2nd and 3rd generation iPod Touches, it is 1/10 of an inch wider and 5/100ths of an inch thinner. Now, as for the iPod Touch's body as a whole, it matches the iPhone design in the sense that it features a full glass front. But unlike the iPhone, however, it keeps the look of the iPod Touch line through the full metal chrome backing. And unlike the last 2 generations of the iPod Touch, the back is actually flat, meaning you could actually use it on a flat surface without it wobbling. On the top right-hand side of the device, you'll see that there is a power/sleep/wake button. The front of the iPod Touch features the home button as well as Apple's capacitive 3.5-inch Retina touchscreen display with a 960 by 640 pixel resolution. In addition to that, there's also a VGA front-facing camera. On the bottom, you'll see the speaker, the 30-pin dock connector, as well as the 3.5mm headphone jack. On the left-hand side of the device, you'll notice that there are dedicated volume up and down buttons, and this is opposed to the last few generations where there were volume rockers. The back of the device features a fixed focus 720p or 1280 by 720 pixel resolution video camera that takes stills at a 960 by 720 resolution. And next to that, you'll notice a little dot, and that dot is actually an omnidirectional microphone. Now, as for the hardware, and we're going to exclude the screen for this one, we have Apple's A4 processor running the house, clocking at 1 GHz. It also has 2.6 megabytes of memory RAM, and it's worth noting that this is the same as the iPad, and it's inferior to the 512 megabytes on the iPhone 4. Moving on, there is 802.11 BGN Wi-Fi, an ambient light sensor, a 3-axis accelerometer, and also a 3-axis gyro, and this allows 6-axis total control for games that require motion and will result in more precise motion controls. Now, as for the battery on the new iPod Touch, Apple claims to have up to 40 hours of audio and up to 7 hours of video on one battery charge. This brand new iPod Touch also has iOS 4.1 pre-installed, and with it comes Game Center, Apple's online gaming network. Now, you use your Apple ID or the login for your iTunes to log on into Game Center, and essentially you can use this app to compete with friends via the leaderboard. You could even check up on certain achievements that different games have, and even game online with other people. Now, you can access your friends list via your email, and basically whoever you email that has an Apple ID will be hooked onto your friends list. And you can also launch games from Game Center as well, and that's pretty much how that works. Essentially, it's like a PlayStation Network or Xbox Live, but on the iPhone and the iPod Touch. The camera app allows you to use the two cameras on the device to take photos and videos. The operation is pretty simple. All you really have to do is tap anywhere on the screen to change the exposure to match the target that you are filming and or taking a picture of. Applying to stills only, you can zoom. Tapping once on the screen gives you the on-screen zoom controls, and you could just drag left and right to decrease or increase the zoom. You can also switch between the cameras, but of course not while you're recording or taking your pictures. And in addition to that, you can edit the video that you record with using iMovie, which costs $4.99 on the App Store. And this device runs iOS flawlessly, including all of its amazing features, including multitasking. And I was able to run Pandora and Skype at the same time while playing a game, which is really great considering that the game didn't even show any signs of slowdown. So this is the review portion of my video, and if you've watched my videos before, I usually do this via pros and cons, and that's what we're going to do right now. So we're going to go ahead and start with the pros. The fantastic newish look, thinner profile, and flat back makes this one of the best iPod designs yet. In addition to the look, due to its performance upgrades, this generation of the iPod Touch is snappier than ever. It takes full advantage of all iOS has to offer, providing multitasking, wallpapers, Game Center, FaceTime, etc. As for the screen, it looks insanely crisp and very bright. Text has never looked better on a screen before, and the high resolution of the screen also allows HD playback even on YouTube videos. Gaming on the iPod Touch has always been a blast, and this iPod, of course, is no exception. Games run very smoothly, and this is due to the Apple A4 chip. And in addition to that, games also play better with the addition of course, the Retina display and the 3-axis gyro that also ties into the 3-axis accelerometer, which means more control over games equals, of course, more elaborate games. Of course, one of the more evident pros are the two cameras that it has, the front-facing one, which allows for FaceTime, things like that, and the second one, which is for 720p video recording at 30 frames per second. And this is, of course, really good because it adds value to the device. You get more bang for your buck, pretty much. And lastly, and very briefly, there's a built-in mic, which is pretty good because the last model, you needed to use the earphones and mic. And in addition to that, there's also a long battery life, and I could easily say that you'll get like a full day out of this. It's really true what they say about the battery. It really will last you a full day. Now we're done with the pros, and we're going to move over to the cons. The smaller form factor does not seem as natural in hand as its predecessor. The buttons are harder to press, and this is due to their shortness, and all the buttons, including the home button, feel a little bit awkward to press. The sleep button is located directly above the back camera, and if your finger slips, you could easily smudge it, which of course isn't a good thing. Now, as for the device as a whole, it really has a low threshold for smudges, whether it be in the front where the glass is, that definitely has a low threshold. And the back, of course, it's the same chrome metal, that will really smudge a lot, and if you're not careful, it'll scratch a lot too. The screen being fused with the front glass, plus the fact that the screen is a little bit more flexible on this model, means that if you press hard enough, you can actually get that ripple effect that you get when you press hard on LCD screens. And unlike last year's model, where the LCD screen seemed like real glass, where if you press it really hard, it was completely solid. Now, these last few cons are a little brief. The mic picks up a lot of background noise. The speaker volume is really low and tinny, but of course that's not really meant for headphone replacement. So the back camera is really low in quality, 720p for video, but of course the stills are less than 1 megapixel, which is pretty disappointing. And also, both cameras are still focused, meaning you can't really get any macro shots on them. In low light, they're really bad. They get really grainy and blurry. And they're all right, I guess, in medium to good light. I have some videos up on the YouTube channel if you want to check those videos out. They don't look too bad, and I will put up an outdoor shot tomorrow for those that want to see what they look like outdoors. So now, before I actually end this video, I know that there's going to be a lot of people asking me this one question. Should I get this iPod Touch for the camera? Now, does it have a good camera? It's pretty decent, especially for the size of it. But for $229 minimum, it's not the best camera you could get if you're just going to use it for the camera. Personally, I bring my iPod Touch around everywhere, and I don't bring my camera everywhere. If I want to use the camera, I'll use it. But it's pretty much just for casual use. If you're going to use this for like YouTube videos where you're doing reviews, I would look elsewhere. If you're going to use this to film like documentaries, I would probably look elsewhere. If you're just going to carry this around, use it for music, use the apps, go right ahead, go buy this. And then if you need to use the video camera in some random moment, that's when the camera's worth it. So that's my view on that. Now, I seriously think that the other people that should get this are those that haven't entered the smartphone market yet, like me, and people that want to get an iPhone experience but don't want to pay the charges that the iPhone gets, like data plans, cell phone plans, etc. So that's pretty much my thoughts on who should get it and if you should get it. So basically, for my verdict, I can easily say that when it comes down to what the best media player is out there, it is hands down the iPod Touch. With the addition of the HD camera, recording capabilities, video chatting with FaceTime with the second camera, the mic, the Retina display, not to mention the gaming capabilities and the full library of apps available to you, there's no doubt that the iPod Touch is a great choice. And if you think about it, it is one of the closest things to a computer you could actually find that you could put into your pocket in terms of, portable media players. However, smaller is not necessarily greater when it comes to tech. In making the form factor smaller, Apple had to sacrifice a lot of good features, including a better camera and a better speaker. But to make things even more sour, the form factor that it has right now does not seem physically as natural to hold as the last two iPod Touches. But nonetheless, it is still a great device. The pros outweigh the cons, and it is definitely a worthy successor to the third generation iPod Touch. So, I'm Kenneth Bolito. I'd like to thank you guys for watching this video. Please rate, subscribe, comment, and I will talk to you guys later. Oh, and don't forget to check out those test camera videos that are up on my channel. I'll put up those links in the description as well as an annotation. And, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.